Okay, so we're going to go over spermatogenesis. So to do that, we need to look at the testis and kind of look at some anatomy. So this is a testis, a blow up of what's here, and going in this thing here is the spermatic cord. And in the spermatic cord, and the spermatic cord is basically comes from the abdomen. The testis doesn't start outside of the body, it starts inside the body and it descends. And as it descends, it pulls the tissue with it. And that's the tissue that wraps around it, starting with what's around with the spermatic cord. So inside the spermatic cord contains the ductus deferens, or the vas deferens. All right, so you can barely see it here, but the cord comes through here and it actually wraps all around, and it sort of gets all, it gets kind of smaller and smaller and kind of foils around and becomes these just massive tubules, okay? So the spermatic cord, again, contains the blood that's coming in, the nerves that are coming in, and again, the vas deferens. When the testis descends, it pulls from the oblique muscle in the abdomen, and as it pulls through, it pulls that tissue with it, and it creates something called the cremaster muscle. So the cremaster muscle is around it here. It's a little muscle that, basically allows for the testes to, go up and kind of into the body, or relax and kind of dip down. All right. So there's serous membranes in here, and the serous membrane here is called the tunica. I'll put that here. The tunica vaginalis. And it's a serous membrane, so it wraps around, and it has basically two layers, even though it's one piece of tissue, okay? And it creates this little space here for serous fluid. And that cuts down, of course, on friction there. All right, so up in here where the tubules are, there's another tunica called the tunica, I can never say this word, albuginea. Albuginea. And in this tunica contains the tubules, the seminiferous tubules. So they're little lobules. You can kind of see, like here's a lobule, and here's a lobule. Okay, and those are full of seminiferous tubules, and we'll call those a lobule. And the lobules of tubules have little exits that go into this little area right here called the ret testis. And connected to the ret tetanus are these little ductules called efferent ductules. And the efferent ductils are attached to the basically the vas deferens. So these are the tubules of the vas deferens, and this area, this whole area here, is the head, the body, and the tail of the epididymis. Epididymis. And that contains a head, a body, and a tail. Okay, so ultimately we're looking at the seminiferous tubules, and that is where spermatogenesis occurs. That's where sperm are made. So if we look here, I'm going to make okay, so that's a big tubule. So that's one of these, and we're looking straight on it. Okay, and in this tubule is made up in the periphery of a bunch of cells. And the cells kind of go, it's like pretty much one layer of cells that goes all the way around the periphery of the tubule. And these cells are called spermatogonia. And these are cells that are diploid. So they're 2N cells, and these are the cells that create sperm. So to create sperm, these cells have to go through a process called meiosis. All right. But first, the first thing it has to do, or it does, is it goes through regular mitosis. So we have this 2N spermatogonia, and it will make a copy of itself, or two of the same cell. So we're just going through mitosis. So 2N, 2N. Okay? And one of these cells is going to go right back up here and be a spermatogonia again. So one of these, and every time one of these cells goes through mitosis, one of them goes back to make sure there's always spermatogonia around the tube, and the other one is what will continue to go in through meiosis, and create sperm. Okay, so this first cell is called a primary spermatocyte. And again, it's 2N, all right? So the primary spermatocyte goes through meiosis. It starts meiosis. So it goes through meiosis 1, which is the reduction division in meiosis. And we end up with 2 cells. And these cells are haploid. Okay? So the primary spermatocyte, which was 2N, or diploid, started the first phase of meiosis, meiosis 1, divides. So now we have a split of DNA, and we get 2 new cells that are haploid. This is called the secondary spermatocyte. Okay, so now the secondary spermatocyte then will go through the next phase, which is meiosis 2, because these two cells ultimately have too much DNA, and so they divide again, and we get 4 haploid cells, and these are not sperm yet. These are called spermatids. So in meiosis 2, let's try to label that you know. So this was meiosis 1. This is meiosis 2. And we end up with 4 distinct individual spermatotids. So these are going to have, different DNA. They're going to have done crossover and all of that stuff. So these are going to be 4 distinct cells. Okay. So these aren't sperm yet. They only become sperm when they grow their tail. So as soon as they grow their tail, and notice they're close to the lumen now, so they grow their tail, and once they grow their tail, they become sperm. And once they become sperm, they go into the lumen and head to the epididymis. So they go to the epididymis, and new sperm, new baby, brand new sperm do not know how to swim. So this is where they learn how to swim. And they get ready to go and do their thing. So the learning curve takes about 2 weeks. And then it's all ready, sperm's ready to go, ready to do its thing. Okay, so that's spermatogenesis. Now let's look at how we get little eggs.